Welcome back to another episode of our Kings related podcast, wherever you may be, and this post game recap of the Kings 127 117 win on this Monday evening against the Detroit Pistons as the dynamic duo of Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan go off for the Sacramento Kings on the second night of a back-to-back, coming off that win yesterday in Cleveland, and the Kings on the final game of this um, six-game road trip, which they have somehow salvaged into a good road trip, winning three games and just losing three. So it's a 500 road trip, and and a road trip that started with that blowout loss in Orlando to the Magic, and then you had that game in Indiana that you let slip away to the Pacers, and then the embarrassing loss to the Washington Wizards, and then you have the blowout win against the Charlotte Hornets, and then to finish this road trip with a back-to-back against two of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, with a win against the Cleveland Cavaliers, sweeping the season series 2-0 as the Kings join the Houston Rockets as the only two teams to beat the Cavs twice. And then you finish it up tonight with a win in Detroit, and Zach LaVine coming off that coming off that 37-point game last night against Cleveland, dropped 43 in this game, and that was a historic 30 points last night against the Cavs. LaVine, a very efficient night for him as he was 16 of 28 from the field. He was 8 of 11 from long range for 43 points in this game. Over the last three games for Zach LaVine, Zach is 19 of 29 from long range on the and it's no coincidence that the Kings in those last three games are 3-0 in that stretch. So the Zach LaVine that the Kings have seen here lately, these last three games, this is the Zach LaVine that the Kings need. We have three games left in the regular season. So, and somehow Zach LaVine, who made 7 threes last night, he somehow topped that tonight, putting on a shooting display for the ages with one of the smoothest shots in the NBA, and he was nearly impossible to stop in this game by the Detroit Pistons, and he never he literally never cooled off but from last night, and his teammate DeMar DeRozan in this game never cooled off as well from last night, as DeRozan chipped in 37 points in this game on 53% shooting from the field. And while Zach LaVine, he used the long ball to get his scoring done, it was DeMar DeRozan, the president of the mini committee, with that patented mid-range shot and his ability to get to the free throw line that help lead the Sacramento Kings to this victory. But Zach LaVine, 43 points. DeMar DeRozan, 37 points. They are just the fifth pair of Kings teammates to score 37 plus points in a game in franchise history as they join Fox and Monk from 2023, Isaiah Thomas and Marcus Thornton from back in 2014, Tiny Archibald and Van Arsdale from 1972, and then you got the Big O, Oscar Robertson and Jack Twyman back in 1966. So that dynamic duo of Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan absolutely cooking in this game. So just a gritty performance on the second night of a back-to-back for the Sacramento Kings. And I know Zach and DeRozan's gonna get a lot of the praise in this game, but Domantas Sabonis, All NBA big man, he chipped in with a triple-double, his 10th of the season, 19 points, 15 rebounds, and 10 assists in this game. And also his Lithuanian teammate, JV, he also crashed the boards in this game as JV took advantage of his minutes in this game. Like he played 3 minutes? JV played 3 minutes in that first quarter. He had 9 rebounds. 9 rebounds in those 3 minutes. So especially and JV, he finished this game with 10 points, 12 rebounds in his 13 minutes off the Kings bench. Also with Devin Carter, who was, we talk about Keon Ellis being a menace on the defensive end. I thought Devin Carter gave really good minutes off the Kings bench, and I thought he was especially a menace on the defensive end in his limited minutes in this game. And I know he had limited minutes in the game last night against Cleveland, and it looked like he might face the same fate in this game. But Devin Carter was absolutely incredible in this game off the bench. He came to life scoring all 7 of his points as the Kings rallied to take the lead heading into the fourth quarter. The Kings were down as much as 18 in this game, and they allowed the Detroit Pistons to score 72 points in that first half. In the second half, the Kings only allowed Detroit to score 45 points for 40% shooting. Incredible job by Doug Christie and this team to really clamp down defensively in this game. And here's also from this win, might not be great, but Malik Monk, who played just 6 minutes in this game, I believe he had 6 points. He left this game in the first half with a left calf injury, did not return. But Malik Monk, who has struggled since he's been moved back to the bench, and this game was no exception. And hopefully, that calf injury is nothing too serious for the Kings in this game. But just a gritty performance by the Kings in this game. And we talk about it while LaVine and DeRozan will get the headlines from this incredible win. Um, it's tonight was just another game where Sacramento looked great on both sides of the ball. The Pistons, as I've said, came out hot. They scored 72 points in that first half. And then in that second half, Sacramento really ramped up their defensive pressure, and they held this Pistons team, a physical, scrappy Detroit team, to just 45 points in the second half. Just incredible. You had Kate Cunningham, who made the All-Star team this past February. He scored a team high for Detroit with 35 points for Detroit, but no one else reached that 20-point mark for the Detroit Pistons. And you got that's a Detroit roster that's filled with shooters. You got Tim Hardaway Jr., you got Malik Beasley, two guys who were excellent signings for that Detroit team this past offseason. And those two guys combined, they shot 8 of 25 from the three ball in this game. And even though the defense wasn't perfect for Sacramento in this game, but the effort is what I appreciate more. And it was apparent and more that they got the job done tonight. And for Sacramento, and that's the pressure that you'll need with 3 games remaining left in this regular season. You got the Nuggets on Wednesday, and then you got the Clippers, and then you got the Phoenix Suns, and it feels like Sacramento kind of finding the groove here over these last 3 games. Like, they are consistent. Like, this is a team that can beat anyone in the league, and they can lose to anyone in the league, and we saw it on this road trip where they lost to the Washington Wizards. So they are consistently getting into the opponent's space. The Kings are in the backcourt. I like when they picked up the full court. You saw Devin Carter in this game picking up the Detroit with some of that full court pressure, and just that, doing all the little things that doesn't really show up in the box score. So it feels like they are finally taking everything that Doug Christie is saying and putting it together on the basketball court. So a really impressive win on a second night of a back-to-back, where you end this 6-game road trip with 2 of the toughest games on this road trip, against Cleveland and against the Detroit Pistons. And just a heads up, if the Golden State Warriors beat the Phoenix Suns tomorrow night, the Kings will clinch a play-in berth in that 9-10 matchup. So the Kings sitting right now at 39 and 40 on the season, right there at that 9th seed in the West. And that's a position that the Kings want to be in, because you want to host that play-in game like you did last season when you beat Golden State. So, and it's also notable that if Sacramento and Dallas, they tie this season, Sacramento will have the tiebreaker over the Dallas Mavericks. So really impressive win on the second night of a back-to-back for the Sacramento Kings, and like the last game of a long road trip is never easy, because you're ready to get home. So just really impressive. Where the Kings were down as much as 18, they rallied, and it was Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan who really dominated this game for the Sacramento Kings as they are lighting the beam for the second game in a row, and they're inching that much closer to clinching that play-in berth for that 9-10 matchup in the Western Conference. So Kings win 127 to 117, and they come home. You got the Nuggets, the Clippers, and the Phoenix Suns to wrap up this 82 regular season schedule. So that first game, you got the Nuggets, the Nuggets themselves, they're battling for positioning in that crazy Western Conference. Like right now, you got the Nuggets, who are fourth in the Western Conference, and they're tied in the loss column with the Clippers, Golden State, Minnesota, and the Memphis Grizzlies, who are all tied with 32 losses. And the playoff positioning in the West is just absolutely crazy. And you got the Clippers. It's a Clippers team that you should have beaten the Clippers in your last meeting down in Inglewood, but you didn't. And then you got the last game against the Phoenix Suns, and that's a Suns team they got a hell of a schedule remaining. They got Golden State tomorrow on Tuesday. I believe they also have Oklahoma City still to come. I believe they also have the Lakers on their schedule. Plus they got San Antonio penciled in there as well. So it's not an easy schedule for the Phoenix Suns remaining. But most importantly, the Kings, they get a huge win on the road as they come back home 3-3 on this road trip. They salvage a bad road trip and made it a good one by beating the Detroit Pistons by 10. Thanks for tuning in to this post-game recap. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, leave a comment down below in the YouTube comments, and if you're listening on your preferred audio platform, please hit that follow button, rate 5 stars, leave a nice little review, be much appreciated, and we'll see you Wednesday following Kings and Nuggets for another post-game recap. Go Kings and light the beam.